Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Papermaze, and I'm working with the Vintage Artistry Sunburst collection from 49 on Market, and it's absolutely gorgeous, a really truly stunning collection, and I love everything about it. The colours, the patterns, the florals, the beachy elements, there's just nothing about this collection that I don't like. It's gorgeous, and pink features quite heavily in it, and pink is one of my favourite colours, and it's not something I get to scrap with a lot because I tend to only scrap photos of my little boy, so although I do use a little bit of pink, I don't go mad on it. But because there is so much pink in this collection, I've really been enjoying just embracing that and going with it. And I had some perfect photos as well of me and my son, or my son and I should I say. I'm wearing a bright pink shirt in the photos, so they work really nicely with this collection. And in the background we have lots of pink flowers behind us. We're in a country park, and there was a Japanese water garden, and just all these florals. It's absolutely stunning, so we stopped for a few photos, as you do, especially if you're a scrapbooker. Much to my husband's dislike, because I had to ask him to take these photos, and he's not very big on taking loads of photos. He just wants to keep walking, whereas I'll stop every 30 seconds for a photo. But that's just the scrapbooker in me, and I'm sure we are all the same. So yeah, perfect photos for this one, and I wanted to draw on the colours from the photos and sort of extend them out onto the layout. So I've gone for the pinks, the blues and the green. My little boy is wearing blue, and then in the background I've got all that lovely green. So I've chosen 3 of the pattern papers that feature those colours quite boldly. Some of the papers are a little bit more kind of like pastel-y watercolours, and then you've got some bolds as well. So I've picked out the bolds, and the green is actually partially a branding strip from one of the papers, but I loved the black stitching effect it had going through it, and it saved me having to do any machine stitching. So yeah, I've used the branding strip mainly for that green one, and I've cut some little fishtail ends into each one. They're of different lengths, and I'm going to layer those up on the page. And I'm thinking at the moment I'm going to have it kind of the bottom third of the page, but I do have a little play and sort of move them up to the centre, but it just didn't feel right, so they do end up coming sort of back down to that bottom half of the page. But I'm kind of going with a design like this, and I've got 2 photos. I've cut them circular, obviously one's bigger than the other, so I will layer those up as well. But I want to get these kind of 5 things stuck in place, because I'm going to add some mixed media to my background, and having these larger elements stuck together makes it so much easier, because I can then move them on and off the page as one piece to kind of bring it back in and see if my mixed media covers enough, or if I need to add more and where I need to add it. It just makes it easier being able to move one piece off the page rather than 5 separate pieces and having to keep building them back up each time. So I'm going to get those stuck in place pretty early on. And then I'm just going through the collection here, seeing what I would like to use as my title. So I've got the chipboard words, that's better. And I've also got the ephemera pack that has some pieces in it that would work as a title. But I initially pulled out one of the chipboard words, the word together. I liked the sentiment, but the colour was wrong. It was yellow. And although I am going to bring in some yellow to the layout, I just didn't feel like the yellow title worked. So that went to one side, and then in the end I've used the Paradise die cut from the Ephemera Bits pack, and that is a massive pack. There are 123 die cut pieces in that pack. You can see it all out on my desk here. It's massive. There is so much in it, and it's going to go so far. I'll make so many layouts with it. I'm just going through it now to see what else I might like to pull out. I've got a couple of little kind of ticket stubs there. One says Hello Fun and the other says Sunshine. And I thought those would look quite nice over in the top left there behind my photos, kind of fill in that gap nicely. And I've just pulled out a few bits, got some more of those little circular elements. They're almost like a circular flare and have different wording in them and different colours as well. So there's loads of those in the pack. So I've pulled out a few of them. Now I'm going through the tropical foliage laser cuts. So this is another pack we get of embellishments. There are, I think, 70 pieces in this pack, and it's all trees, florals, butterflies. There's a few starfish, I think, lots of leaves and palm trees, pineapples, that kind of thing. So really sort of tropical, great for holiday photos. So although I am on holiday in these photos, it's not really a beachy layout as such, so I am trying to stick to the more floral side of things and leaving the starfish and the pineapples for holiday layouts, a lot of beachy layouts. So I've picked out lots of florals here, pink and yellows, and loads of leaves, and I'm just trying to arrange them on the page and see where I might like to add them. I'm going to embellish quite heavily on this page. If anyone's caught the Papermaze blog this morning, I'm actually up on the blog today with a different layout using this collection. It's very similar to this layout. It's the first one I made, and I loved it so much I wanted to make a second using photos from the same time. So I think my husband took several photos, me nagging him, and I've got a few of my little boy with the flowers in the background as well. So I've got quite a big series of photos. So it's not really a double layout, double spread, but I've ended up with two layouts very similar using the same photos. So they will sit side by side in my album. But yeah, so the other one is up on the Papermaze blog today. It's also going to be on my Instagram, obviously, but that one didn't have a video. So when I sat down to make this one, I thought, as I'm going to have a blog for the first one, why not have a video for this one? So it's a little bit longer than most of my videos. I do try and keep them as short as possible. But because I add so much to this page, and I do so much, it is a slightly longer video. So apologies for that. But yeah, these will sit side by side in the layout, and they are very similar, but I just absolutely loved the first one and had to create a second. So do check out the other layout on the Papermaze blog today as well if you like this one. So as always, I'm adding some craft foam behind my photos. I'm actually going to add 2 layers of foam today because I've got a lot that I want to kind of slot in and layer up behind my photos. So I need that sort of void between the back of the photo and the background to be able to slot everything in and have room to stick it in place. So 2 layers of foam. Obviously I'm going to have to raise part of my title up on foam as well because that's overlapping my photos. But I'm going to get that in place just along the bottom of my photo, sort of running along that pink edge of that sort of fishtail banner. I say banner, it's not really a banner, it's a strip of paper and I've cut a fishtail into it, but you know what I mean. It follows the line on the edge of that pink one nicely. And now I'm going to stick as much of this together as I can because I'm then going to move it off the page to add some mixed media. So like I was saying, if I can move it all off as one piece, it's a lot easier. So what I can get stuck down right now without sticking it to my background, I am going to. So a lot of foam pads coming in, getting things stuck on top of each other, but it does make life so much easier. So there we go, I've got my one piece now, and this is where I'm sort of trying to decide where I want it to sit, but I am going to end up with that sort of bottom half, or just slightly toward the bottom of the page. And I've drawn around that with a pencil very faintly, just so I can see where that's going to sit when it comes to adding my mixed media. And I've pulled out my water-soluble crayons for this. I have had these for years. Probably over 20 years now. I used these for my GCSE art exam. I'm trying to think, was it GCSE or A-level? No, it was GCSE. I didn't do art A-level. Definitely GCSE. So I would have been 16 at the time. So these are now over 20 years old, but still going strong. And I absolutely love them. They are the same kind of principle as the Vicky Boutin art crayons. They are water-soluble crayons. So I've just added them on a little bit of packaging here. Just like as a crayon, just drawn it on, and then I've added a little bit of water, and then I'm using a kitchen sponge, like the scouring sponges, to add that colour on. And I love doing that. It's a trick I learnt from a fellow scrapbooker, but it gives me so much control when it comes to adding the colour, and I can sort of really control where it goes, whereas the packaging technique, as much as I love how the effect it gives, it's sometimes very hard to control the page, and I end up saturating more areas than I want to. So using that sponge is really helpful. So there was my little boy come in with his Lego model there, bless him. Can't remember what it was he was making this day. He's obsessed with Lego at the moment, so he just popped in there. But yes, I've added my mixed media. I've gone for pinks and greens because those are sort of the predominant colours in my photos. And then I end up covering most of this up anyway, which I kind of knew I would. When I come to embellish with florals in a minute. So what I actually did at the end, once I had everything in place and I was finished, I turned the camera off and then I got my Nuvo drops out and I just added on top of that mixed media pinks and greens, and then with a plastic spatula just kind of smushed it around a little bit so that it's still got some texture on the page, and you'll see in the close-ups at the end it's not completely flat. I've left it bumpy on purpose for a bit of texture, but it just darkens that colour off in certain areas. And now on to embellishing then. So I've already brought in a lot of the florals. Those were from the laser cut pack, the tropical foliage laser cuts. And I'm fussy cutting now a little what's it called, flamingo. I nearly said pelican then. Flamingo. Now there weren't any flamingos on this day, but I was desperate to get a flamingo on the page. I just love flamingos. So and they're pink as well, so it goes with the colour scheme nicely. So I've just fussy cut one from a little tag there, and I've just slotted him in over on the right. He's got some flowers around him, so he's not overly obvious, but he is there. And I'm using a lot of foam pads, like I said, to bring in dimension in. It means I can tuck things under. I love dimension on my pages as well. I'm not a fan of flat. I love to have lots of dimension, which is just as well because I'm about to come in with some fabric and foam flowers, and these are very dimensional. Now, Papermaze stock a really wide range of fabric and paper flowers. Prima are a good brand. If it's something you're new to, do have a look. Prima makes some beautiful florals, and there was actually a collection from Prima recently. I think it's called Postcards from Paradise or something like that, and a lot of the florals they released with that collection would actually work really nicely with this 49 and Market collection. So if you want to get yourself some, head over to Papermaze and check those out. If you just go to the I think it's the embellishment tab along the top, and then go down to florals or flowers, there's a whole range in there. There's every colour under the sun, different styles, different shapes, different petals, different sizes. So do head on over and check those out. There's loads available. But for my layout here today, I'm using only blue and white, I think, or I might actually bring in a pink one as well. But the white flowers I've got here, they're like little colour lilies. They are foam. And then the blue flowers are fabric, and they've got little plastic bits coming out with some little pearls on the end. So really pretty, and add a lovely texture to the page. So I've slotted a few of those in as well. And if I haven't already, because I've been blabbering so much, I've missed what I've done. I'm going to stick those down in place with some silicone glue. It's got a really strong hold. Again, that's available from Papermaze, and it also brings in a little bit of dimension as well. So I do love that stuff. Now, this stuff here I'm adding is kind of like fake moss. I bought it from a craft store over on the Isle of Wight a few years ago, and I've got it in a range of colours. And I initially bought it because I thought it looked like seaweed, and I've got like a beigey sandy coloured one that I use a lot on beachy layouts to make my layouts like quite rustic. But I have got this green one as well, so I thought it worked really nicely with this collection. And it's kind of like a weird rubbery texture. It's really hard to explain, but I think it's actually called moss. So you might have to look in some, what's the word I'm looking for, floristry shops or something for this. Because I think it was actually from a floristry section in the shop I bought it from. But again, it's a different texture on the page. I love how it looks, and I'm again sticking that down with my silicone glue. And then I'm just bringing in those die cuts. So I've got the little round piece over on the right there that says Good Times, and I've got another one over on the left above my title that says Just Chilling. So because I've got those circular photos, I quite like those. I'm wanting to get a couple of those on just to extend sort of the circular design, or just like the continuity, like have a few more circles on the page. So I'm just going around now. I'm actually using the plastic sort of spatula thing that comes with the rub-ons with this 49 Market collection. I couldn't find my plastic spatula at the time, and I had this on my desk, and I thought, oh, that'll do. So yeah, another use for that. If once you've used all your rub-ons, don't get rid of that plastic thing. Use it for your glues and things like that. It's very handy. I will clean it up after, obviously. But yeah, that's helped me get some things in place. And now I've got these little foam balls. Now I usually use these on Christmas layouts or winter layouts as sort of snowballs because they have a little bit of glitter in them. But I just thought they looked quite nice. It was something a little bit different, another texture on the page. So I'm just using my glossy accents now and a paper piercing tool and just adding a few of those on sporadically. No kind of rhyme or reason to it, just here and there, as if I've sort of dropped them on the page from above and they sort of just landed where they are. Trying not to be too precise with them, she says, using a paper piercing tool and doing each one individually. But yeah, just trying to make it look a bit random. So I think I'm almost done here. I am going to bring in some of this webbing material. Again, this came from that same craft shop on the Isle of Wight. I think again is for floristry. I think you're supposed to wrap it around the stems of the flowers, but I've never used it for that. And again, I've got this in a whole range of different colours, and I love to sort of cut away at the edge and make it rough and a little bit frayed. And then stick it behind things and layer it up just for a bit of texture. So I've added a little bit along the bottom there, just under my title, and I'm adding a little bit more at the top there, just above that green pattern paper strip. I've got no mixed media over there, so I felt like it needed something. And then just with these tiny little offcuts that I had, I've just added a couple of those, poked them in and stuck those down with some glossy accents as well. And there we go, that is me done. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this layout. Thank you for sticking with me. It was a longer video than normal, and like I said, I have got another layout very similar over on the Papermaze blog today, so do head on over and check that out. And I think I noticed when I was writing my blog, this collection is selling pretty fast, so do head on over and get your hands on it before it's completely sold out. It is beautiful, and like I said, it's so lovely, suitable for your holidays, holiday photos. You've got your starfishes and pineapples and tropicals and things like that in it, and then you've also got all the florals and butterflies and things as well. So lots of fun to be had with this one, so do check it out. But thanks very much for joining me. I'll leave links in the description box below to Papermaze, to the website so you can check it out, and also to the blog so you can read about the other layout I've made. But thanks very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.